Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be presenting you the game between Gukesh Domaraju, the world champion, and Jahangir Sindarov, the World Cup champion, which took place in the Tata Steel Chess 2026. So let's get started. Gukesh here has the black pieces, and the game starts off with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, knight b d7, queen c2, normal development, bishop b4, pinning the knight to the king, as you can see, pawn takes, and now the bishop comes up here to pin this knight to the queen, Gukesh's knight to the queen. h6 has been played to dismantle the bishop. Let's see what Sindarov does. He captures the knight. Gukesh captures Sindarov's knight and gives a check. Queen takes c3, knight takes f6, e3 has been played to create this pawn chain. This pawn chain. Knight e4, centralizing the knight and attacking the queen. Next, Sindarov moves his queen. Obviously, he has to move this queen, and he moved his queen over to this square. You know why? Because he wants to stop Gukesh from castling, so that the king can't castle on the king side. That's why. Next, knight d6 has been played to stop that idea, to cut off the queen's vision from the king's castling route. Next, bishop d3, short castles. Short castles, c6 to complete the pawn chain, knight e5 centralizing the knight, bishop f5, bishop takes, knight takes, queen comes up to c3. a5 has been played, expanding on the queen side. a4, queen e7, rook a b1, knight d6. The idea of knight d6 is to put the knight either on this square or on this square. Not here right now, because the if you put the knight on this square, then this knight will capture, the pawn will capture, and the queen will capture. So it's bad for black. So not right now, but it's processing. It's in the ideas. b4 has been played. A b4, queen b4, rook a7, just creating a loop for the rook. Knight d3 has been played. Queen c7, rook fc1, rook a, rook fa8, doubling the rooks on the a file to put pressure on this pawn. And Sindarov has put his rooks on the b and c files to put pressure on the queen and this pawn over here. Knight c5, knight c4, knight d3, h5. Gukesh expands on the king side. He wants to create a small attack on the king side pawns over here, king's castle. Next, the pawn comes up to h3, and now g6 is played. The rook moves over to the center of the board. Gukesh keeps pushing his pawn. He wants to create weaknesses. Whenever you want to create weaknesses, you need to attack your opponent, and or you need to push your pawns. If you push your pawns, then they will create loopholes in your opponent's territory, their camp, where you can exploit the weaknesses. Let's move on, guys. Rook comes up to c1, king comes up to g7. As you can see, what Sindarov has done is he has just put his rook here and there again and again. Gukesh put his king up and then again back. Let's see what happens. Again, Sindarov is repeating. He wants a draw, but Gukesh does not want to draw. He wants to fight. Next, the knight centralizes itself on the e5 square. This knight over here, this could have taken, and this pawn could have taken, and then the pawn structure of white would have been ruined. But for some reason, Gukesh decides not to take, and he plays a knight to d6. The rook goes over to the a1 square here, reinforcing this pawn to protect this pawn, which is attacked twice by the rooks of black. Next, knight e4 has been played, centralizing the knight. Rook a2, queen d6, queen comes up to b6, and then queen falls back to e7. Queen b3 has been played, rook a5. As you can see, this is a very positional kind of a game. Gukesh is putting the pressure on this file. He's not letting go of this file. He wants to put pressure, he wants to exert pressure on that file, on that pawn over there on e4. And Sindarov is not really enjoying his position. b5 puts pressure on this pawn. If you capture this pawn on b5, then simply rook takes rook, so that's bad. Sindarov obviously wouldn't do that. Rook c a1, queen a7, triple pressure, 1 2 3 on this pawn, and also 4. There are 4 pieces putting pressure on that pawn. A pawn is not a piece, but yeah, you can understand what I'm saying. Queen c2, ba4, knight b4, here is a mistake, and queen b7. Queen b7 here puts pressure on this knight, and as you can see, there will be a tactic in the future which Gukesh plays out excellently, and I will ask you guys to write it down in the comment section below if you can find this tactic. Let's see if you can. Rook takes a4. This is the moment. If you want to pause your videos, you can, and write the move. Wow, it's black to play. Pause the videos and write it down in the comment section below. I will look at the comments. So the idea is queen takes b4, double exclamation mark, brilliancy. Idea is if rook takes, then this rook will infiltrate on the first rank and attack white's king. Rook takes a1 check, king h2. As you can see, this pawn is covering this square, this rook is covering all of these squares, and this knight will jump into the party some time, not right now obviously. And next, king g7, just a prophylactic move, because if you don't play king g7, then this rook can come here and give checks. Not right now because this rook is over here, but the white pieces still have a chance to infiltrate and give checks. So that's why he played king g7. Rook b7, as I said, entering on the 7th rank. Rook f1, great move. Queen c6, rook a1. He is putting his rooks on the first rank, and he's wanting to attack on the white king. Next, rook takes f7 check, sorry about that. King takes f7, queen d5 check, king g7, queen e5 check, knight f6, defending the king from the checks of the queen. Here the knight controls this square and also this square, so the queen can't really give a check on this square obviously, but the knight is covering 3 squares. That is what I'm trying to say. Queen e7 check, king h6, queen f8 check, king h7, queen f7 check, king h6. Here Gukesh Sindarov is trying to make a perpetual uh, check and give a draw, but Gukesh obviously wouldn't allow that. Queen f8 check, king h5, queen h8 check, king g5, and the pawn gives a check, the king moves over. Queen attacks and captures the pawn on h4, rook h1 check, and now the king comes up to g3, knight e4 check, king goes to f3, rook hf1 check, king e2, rook f2 check. The king is completely hunted down in the board, as you can see by Gukesh. King d3, rook d2 check, king c4, rook c1 check, king b3 again check, and there are a lot of checks. Like Gukesh is continuously checking the white king. What will happen? Let's find out. King a4, rook takes e3, queen g4 check. Finally Gukesh gives time to give a check. King f6, queen gives a check, and queen d8. Right now the queen is free. It has come to the d8 square, and it is completely, yeah, it is open to give checks, and it is free right now. But will Sindarov get the opportunity to give that many checks? Because Gukesh plays here rook a2 check, king b4, rook b2 check, king a4. Gukesh repeats the moves over there because he wants to gain a little bit of time. As you can see, Gukesh is low on time. He has 41 seconds and Sindarov has 3 minutes 53 seconds. Here queen g8 check, king f5, queen f8 check, knight f6, queen c5 check, king takes f4, queen d6 check, king f5, and right now the position has equalized. because the queen is really open and it can give checks from anywhere, like here, and there are many places from where the queen can give check. Like if the knight wasn't here, then the queen would have given check from this point also. Next, queen c5 check, king f4, queen d6 check, king g5, h4 check, king f5, and queen c5 check, king f4. And after a couple of checks, the game ends in a draw because both players realize that there is a perpetual check over here and you can't really force any win over here, and the position is completely equal. So here both players agreed to a draw. And yeah, Gukesh could have made a very good game out of this. He could have started his tournament with a win, but he was a bit inaccurate in some places. That's why the game led to a draw. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to me, and support the channel. Goodbye, guys.